Good morning and welcome to It's How You'll Be Remembered. I am Julie Jones, your host and the Chief Encouragement Officer right here at Today's Professionals. And today we are talking leadership. And so I want to hear from you because this is a huge topic. We're probably not even going to get to everything that I had planned, but I want to hear from you. So if you're catching this live, be sure and say hello. Also, share with me your thoughts and comments on leadership and what I'm saying about leadership. And we will continue this talk. This is something I talk about a lot. And so I am excited that you are with us today. So, for me, the reason that I wanted to talk about leadership today is because I believe that we are all leaders. I don't care if you're still a student. I don't care if it's your first day on the job, or if you're a parent, or if you are just in a group of friends, you have the ability to lead. And so, with that, let's look at what leadership is. And so, I have a couple of things I have to. I have messed up my mouse earlier today, and so it's still not working. So, I will just click on this here. Leadership is the ability to influence, inspire, and guide others toward a vision or a shared goal. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can lead where you are. It's not about the position or the title, it's really about you. It's a reflection of your character. Simon Sinek says that leadership is not about being in charge, but it's about taking care of people in your charge. And so I think that that spoke to me because there's a servant leadership means that you are taking care of people, making sure that they have the skill set and they have the equipment to do what they need to do, especially if you're in a corporate situation or working in a company. That was one thing that I found when I had a plumbing company is that, there were decisions that my plumbers didn't feel that they could make on their own. And so they would oftentimes call me or call the office for guidance. Or sometimes they needed something. They got to the job site and realized that they didn't have something on their truck. And so they would either have to leave the job, which was not ideal. And let me tell you, it's really not ideal to leave the job, or we would have to run something to them. Sometimes it might be something like a camera or something, but we were always ready to go when they called and said they needed something. One of the people that I admire the most is a person who has a very successful home service business here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I've been to several of his calls. I attended several of his calls. We were in the same group together, and he was a leader and a mentor. And I went to several of his classes when we were at events. I would always try to go to his things. He's a faith-based entrepreneur and leader, and he really does a great job. And so I admired him. And so he would say that his job every day was to come in and make sure that his people on his team were happy. That was his job. He said, I would come in and I would say, how are we doing? Do you need anything? What can we do for you? How can we help you? And those were his conversations. He would just spend time talking to them and then make sure they had everything that they needed. And I loved that. And that is where I first learned about the 3 wins, that you always start with taking care of people who are in your company, on your team. That's where you start because they're the face of your company and they're the ones who are serving your clients and taking care of your goals and making sure that the company's on track to do what they need to do. And so he would always come in and take care of them first. And that's where I realized, oh, I should be taking care of internal people first, my internal customers, not my external customers first. Because when you take care of the people inside of your company first and you pour into them and help them know that they are seen, valued and heard, and you are meeting their emotional needs, and then they are going to be happy. And happy people love what they do. They will take care of your customers. And then when your customers are happy and they're getting great service, and they were referring their friends and families to your company, well, then the company wins. So we always start with taking care of our internal customers first, which are our team members. And that was a valuable lesson for me. Um, but then there's also, the thing about leadership is you have to have the right attitude as a leader. And even if it's your first day on the job, when you come in, you are actually being a leader. You can come in and have the right mindset of, I am so glad to be here. I'm grateful. How can I serve? What do I need to learn? And when they are telling you, taking you through that onboarding process, you are stepping up. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Maybe you're showing up a little bit early, 10 minutes early, so that you can be ready. Make sure that you are keeping track of what you're doing, and you're learning, and you're asking questions, and you're doing a great job. That in itself, people are watching you, and they're saying, hey, this person is going to be great. They're already then beginning to visualize you as a leader. And so because you're coming in with the right mindset and you're doing everything right, and you are pouring everything you have into this job, even though you're new, you can step up. And if they say something like, hey, we need somebody to take on a project, even though you're new, you can say, hey, I would love to learn this. Is there a way I can participate in this? And they might tell you, right now we want you to focus on this, but glad to know that you're willing to take on other projects. So stepping up and being an important part of the team is really part of being a good leader. And so it starts with your mindset and how you're showing up. If you wake up every day and your thought process is, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go to work. I don't love my life. I'm not a happy person. And you just want to pull the covers over your head, then there's some things that we need to work on. And maybe you should reach out to me and say, hey, I need to get back on track, because there's something going on that is keeping you from living your life to the fullest. And everyone deserves to have a purposeful life. Everyone deserves to have a joyful life. And so if you're not doing that, then we need to take steps to help you get there. And so check yourself. Are you really miserable, and do you not like your life? Because that is showing up everywhere you go. I went to a meeting yesterday and I did not really sleep well the night before. And so when I got up, I hit the ground running. I was behind on my schedule. And so when I got to this appointment in the afternoon, the lady looked at me and said, are you okay? I'm just sensing that maybe you're tired. Maybe there's something going on with you. And I thought, oh, it's showing, it's reflecting in how I'm showing up. And that is up here because I didn't get the time, my morning routine to sit and look at my goals and to get my mind right. I just hit the ground running, and that's not good for me. And so it was reflected in somebody who knew me and said, hey, you're showing up different today. So know that everything you do, people are watching, and you're leading at all times. So the second part about leadership is the way that you show up. And this is what we're talking about. It starts in your mind, because remember, what you think about, you bring about. We've talked about that many times before. Whatever comes into your head usually comes out your mouth. Your thoughts are usually reflected in your what you're saying. And I got to say, sometimes in your body language, because your body language actually speaks louder than your words. And so you have to watch your facial expressions. I got caught doing that the other day. I was, at a meeting, and somebody said something and I made a face and they caught it. And I thought, ooh, I need to make sure that I'm staying stoic. I'm watching and paying attention to my facial expressions. Have you ever done that? I mean, because when people say something and you're thinking it, but you don't say it, but your words are totally reflected in your body language and in your facial expression, man, that's a great way to get busted. So that takes practice, which is why I say when you're on the phone, make sure you have a mirror beside you and you're watching yourself talk on the phone, because you don't want that to happen to you where somebody is saying, hey, what are you thinking? Because you're busted. But body language is people believe what we see. And so your words do have power. Your words are extremely powerful. And when they're coupled with tonality, and when they're coupled with the body language that follows it, let me tell you, you are you're in for the message to be received. And so if the words that you're saying do not match the body language, that's where mistrust happens. And so communication is part of the image. The image is the way others see you. And if they see you as saying one thing, doing another, then there's mistrust there, and they will not view you as a leader. And so in order for someone to follow you, in order for you to be able to inspire or influence someone to move toward a shared goal, then you have to be trustworthy. And so when words and actions don't match, it's a deal breaker. People will not follow you. So make sure that you, number one, have the attitude and the mindset that you are going to be taking care of the people around you, and that you're making sure they have what they need, that their needs, their emotional needs are being met. And make sure that you're showing up as authentic. Make sure you're showing up and communicating and doing what you say you will do. And that your character is that of somebody who is worthy of being followed. And so we talk a lot about humility. We talk a lot about empathy. People who are strong leaders do have the ability to be empathetic and to recognize that somebody might not have done something because they just didn't want to, but they did something because they didn't know how. So they did the best that they could. And so that's where, as a good leader, if there's a mistake or if somebody doesn't quite have the skill set, you recognize that. So you understand how your team members communicate, what their needs are, and you understand where they are, because you have to be able to meet them where they are in order to bring them forward. And so your people are the face of the company. And so pouring into them only makes sense. It goes back to the 3 wins, where we start with taking care of our internal customers first. And so we want to pour into them, and we want to make sure that we understand them. I know that you've heard this before. I've said it before. People don't really leave jobs. They leave managers. They leave people where they feel they're not successful. They leave where they feel they're not being seen, valued, and heard, or they feel like maybe they're overwhelmed and they're not moving forward. And so they just give up. And so it's just easier to leave than it is to try and stay and work it out. But a good leader always knows how to get to the bottom of something, always knows how to meet people where they are, speak their language, understand what their needs are, and understand that if they are acting differently today, well, it might be because they're in distress. And so that's part of what I teach, is the communication piece of, do you understand yourself and how you communicate? And do you understand other people and how they communicate? And not everybody communicates the way you do. And so we use the platinum rule. And so we have to meet people where they are. And so communicate, the image part and the way others see you is important. And that is up to you. It's how you show up. The third part of creating a leadership presence and leaving the impact with your leadership is to have systems and processes in place for everyone to follow. Now, I got to tell you, this is something that is an ongoing lesson for me. I love to organize things, but what I don't like to do is set up systems and processes. But sometimes we have to do things we don't like to do in order to help the people that are in our care do the best that they can. So systems and processes are important. It's the way that you manage your life And I always say, what morning routine do you have? And I already shared that when I didn't sleep well and I overslept and hit the ground running and I didn't go through my routine, my entire day was off and I showed up differently. And so following a system and process is critical for you to get your mind right, for you to keep your day running smoothly, for you to plan ahead so that things don't slip through the cracks. And also, it is a great way for your team members to know what they should be doing. And so systems and processes should be written down. They should be just like a goal needs to be written down. You have to write it down so that people know what they're supposed to be doing. And if something happens and there's a mistake somewhere, you can always go back to the process and you can say, oh, did we skip a step? And so oftentimes we find when we skip steps, that's where things begin to fall apart. And so teaching people to follow a process is very helpful in being a leader that helps people do their best. Because when people that are in our charge, that are in our care, when they are fueled and they're operating efficiently, they feel empowered, they know what to do, then they will perform and they will do great. And so then your customers will be happy. And so the systems and processes that you have in your life starts with you. And it starts with your area. And I read an article just this morning about the clutter in someone's head. And I'm not saying if you're a person who, has stacks and nobody knows your system, but you do. And so you are organized. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about just letting life happen instead of making life happen. You know what I'm talking about? And so when you have systems and processes in your home and your family knows about it and your children know about it, and that your children are taught if they get something out, they need to put it away, or if they dirty a dish, they put it in the dishwasher. If the dishwasher is full, then they know how to unload the dishwasher. And everybody has responsibilities to contribute to the family, then your family runs smoothly, right? Because there's systems and processes and people know what to do. And it's the same thing in a company. And so do you have systems and processes that people can follow? And so when you have the right attitude, when you are showing up and your image is great, and you have systems and processes to help you manage your day, manage yourself, then I call that you're aiming for what you want and you will get it. These philosophies, these principles are not new. I mean, How to Win Friends and Influence People was written by Dale Carnegie back in the 30s. And then Zig Ziglar wrote See You at the Top. And all of these concepts are in what I call AIM. It's just how I teach it. And so it's just something that I've come up with that seems to be coming around and around and around, because it is your soft skills that really determine your success. And your soft skills is more than just your appearance. It's more than just being nice and saying please and thank you. And people oftentimes say, well, you teach etiquette. I mean, I know etiquette, please and thank you, and yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. And well, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am is not really effective in all parts of the country. And so, these are just things that you just have to learn. It's about your entire being. It's about everything from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, and every interaction that you have with people throughout the day. That all goes to how people see you, and that all is soft skills. And your soft skills lead to leadership. And so if you're not training everyone in your team to be a leader, and I'm saying quote unquote, because we always lead where we are. It doesn't matter if you have a title. It doesn't matter if you are, getting a manager's salary. What it means is, how are you functioning within your team? And so I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on leadership? If you want to know more about how you can improve your skill set, your soft skills, I'm offering a free 3-day event, July 7th, 8th, and 9th. So it's a month away still, but it is a free event that we will discuss and go over your attitude and your mindset, your image, and the way you communicate and the way others see you. And we'll talk about systems and processes that help you perform better and get more done so that you live a balanced life. You know, in Ziegler, we always say, if you honor the process will honor you. But if you don't have processes, you can't honor the processes, right? And so we're going to work on that July 7th, 8th, and 9th. If you are interested in getting information about that course, please comment me and I will send you the information. And I am really excited about this because it is my mission and passion to help people live the life that they were created to live. You deserve this. You deserve to be surrounded with people who believe in you. You deserve to be able to link arms and grow, because if you have a vision on your heart, it was put there for a reason. And the reason that you're not there today is because you're not the person you're supposed to be. You still have to grow and learn and meet people. And there are things that you have to do before you can get there. But it's there for a reason. And so we want you to have that dream. So comment me if you want me to send you information. And I am so glad you joined us today. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And don't forget, next week is National Business Etiquette Week. We'll be doing a lot of things all week long. We've got some special things planned, and I hope you will join us then. Have a great week.